Hello, and welcome back to Detail Base. We are back on the voiceovers once again for a nice walkthrough and chat about the methods and products being used. I know there's a sizable audience for this sort of thing, and I've been meaning to return to form for quite a while now, but the truth is, I find voiceovers a massive pain to do, purely because I'm not very good at them, and contrary to Mrs. Detail Base's opinions, I don't actually like the sound of my own voice. Not on recording anyway. Ha, yes, what a funny joke. Anyway, all jokes aside, I've got a set of 3 videos that I recorded on the weekend documenting the long overdue winter clean on both my girlfriend's and my car. So here we are, jumping straight into pre-washing the wheels. This time we're using Nanolex APC diluted at 1 to 9. We're giving the wheel face, the arches a nice level coating before letting it dwell for about 4 or 5 minutes. I've used this product before and I wasn't particularly impressed, especially compared to the likes of Koch Chemie Green Star, hence why I'm absolutely bollocking it on here, in the hopes of giving it the best possible chance. And there's our first fumble of the day, not having the pressure washer switched on, and then closely followed by switching it onto the wrong mode. So a few people pointed out in my last video that the grey 10 sounded a bit off, though absolutely nothing has changed aside from the house I'm using it at. It seems to be back to normal now. The only issue is my pressure washer gun is leaking and I'm probably going to end up buying a nice new MTM SGS. If you're like me, you've probably noticed there's not really been much in the way of an improvement after rinsing the APC off, which is a shame because I expected and wanted a lot more from Nanolex, and I know I'm not the only one to experience this disappointment. It was a good couple of months ago now, but Adrian over at Supercharged Llama Detailing did a video featuring Nanolex professional pre-wash concentrate, where he shared my dissatisfaction, shall we say. Regardless of the APC performance, one of my goals with these post-winter washes was to make sure I rinsed out as much salt as I could from anywhere it could accumulate. Next up is something I've been sitting on for absolutely ages. This is Detailed Online Pulse Reactive Wheel Cleaner. As the name suggests, it's a 9 fallout style wheel cleaner, and it's actually pretty good, especially with 5 litres of the stuff coming in at $22.99 at the time of writing, which I'd say is pretty damn good. The barrels on these wheels have suffered from the treatment of one careful lady owner, which essentially means they've never been touched and they are corroded to shit. So to keep the finish a bit more uniform, which I think has its place sometimes, I've just used a Vicam brush to tidy up the face of the wheel and it came up quite nicely. While Pulse didn't seem to have the instant reaction the likes of Built Hamber Auto Wheel has, it did provide some decent cleaning power and lubricity, which is always welcome. That actually allowed me to do a bucketless wheel clean, where I just rinsed out the brush and loaded it back up with wheel cleaner rather than dipping it into a bucket. With the other 3 wheels done off camera, we can move on to the pre-wash, which for me was Koch Chemie Foren... nope, I'm not saying that. Koch Chemie VB, the German of which literally translates to pre-wash B. I'm using it here in the RK sprayer at 1 to 30, and this has got to be my favourite pre-wash of all time. Think of it like a mega boosted version of Green Star, except it's only for an exterior use. I suppose saying that, it's not really like Green Star at all then. Now I like this not only for its unreal cleaning power, but because Koch Chemie also says that it contains corrosion inhibitors, which I really like the sound of. Whether it makes any difference in the long run, I'm not sure, but it gives you that little bit of peace of mind, especially when it comes to combating rust. Koch also says that it can be used as a wheel cleaner at 1 to 3, and also it can be used for copolymer dewaxing, whatever the shit that is. Dwell time here was about 5 minutes. I could have let it sit for longer, as we were well out the way of the sun by the time I filmed this, but the car wasn't that dirty, as I'm sure it's only done about 1500 miles since I cleaned it last June. And for anyone wondering, that is a car scope 25 degree nozzle. If you're enjoying the video so far, why not hit the like button and consider subscribing? I'd love to hit 1000 subscribers before Waxstock this year. Plus, while you're down there, drop a comment below to share your thoughts. I love hearing what you guys think, and I'll do my best to respond to as many as I can. So if you've got a question or you've spotted something I might have overlooked, let's chat in the comments. All the engagement you guys give me really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Speaking of overlooking something, I'm really not sure why I chose to tackle this way. Normally, you'd spray the flap area with APC, let it sit 5 minutes, then blast it with a pressure washer, but for some reason I chose to just go straight in with the brush. So literally no idea why I decided to do this, but at the end of the day, it got the job done. And by the way, this is an absolutely fantastic brush from Car Pro. It's chemical resistant, fairly stiff bristled, and perfect for exterior use. Fantastic. Got the camera absolutely shitting soaked. this is Koch Chemie Nano Magic Shampoo. This is actually a wax containing shampoo, and in this case I've got about 150ml in 18 litres of water. Now this I was really impressed with. It smelled lovely, foamed up well, and actually stayed like it, which is unusual for a shampoo of this nature. This wash mitt unfortunately didn't carry the suds onto the car as well as the microfiber one did, but you'll see that in the next video. This was the first time using a shampoo like this, so I don't really know what to expect, and nor can I draw any comparisons to any shampoos like it, but I was pleasantly surprised. Now you'll see that the rinse clips, it wasn't exactly allergic to water, but by the time it came around to drying the car, there was very little water left on the panels. Now I've also got to say there is absolutely nothing on this car, no LSP whatsoever. I think the last thing I applied was Autogland's Aqua Seal, but that, like I said, was in June last year. So everything you're seeing here is the performance of the wax and the shampoo itself. Now it's time to rinse the shampoo from the car. As you can see by the end of this clip, the water's pretty much made its way off the panel like I mentioned before. And by the time you've worked your way around the whole car, it'll pretty much be ready to dry. And moving on to drying the car. This is a dual-sided twist loop towel from High Definition Detail, and it's probably one of the longest serving members of the channel. I've got two of these and they've never let me down. The one I'm using here is actually the same one that I used to dry my 5 Series, so you can see that it's more than capable of drying more than one protected car. LSP time now, or what I thought was LSP anyway. This is Rapid Coat by Wax Gurus, and had I read the bottle correctly at the time, I'd realised this wasn't actually LSP, but a glaze/glossing agent, designed to fill in some swirls and scratches to improve gloss. First application here was a bit too thick, and I didn't prime the microfiber pad before spraying it on, and I used too much on the panel, so wipe off was a bit of a pain. Wax Gurus do advise that you use a damp microfiber to level it off should you end up applying too much. They also said they don't actually have any of this in stock anymore, and they're debating whether to make another batch. If the results you'll see in a second are anything to go by, then I think they should, as I was pretty damn impressed with the results. I'll tell you what, this comparison at least took me 45 minutes to do in DaVinci Resolve. I ended up having the software track the light through the frame to keep it in the centre, so I've got to deserve a like just for that. Now that I've got my application method down, we can move to the rest of the car. So I've got one wet microfiber that is primed with the product and one dry for buffing. So here I'm just doing a few sprays on the panel, wiping it round and then buffing it off with my other towel. I also found that it's had a nice darkening effect on the plastic trims found on the rear, sides and the front. So following this application method, I found the product much easier to work with and definitely got better results. I don't think you need to see me apply this to another panel, so I'll speed it up for you. Tire dressing of choice this week was Car Pro Pearl, diluted at 1 part product to 1 part water. I found it gave a nice finish at the time, but at the time of editing of 1 week later, the dressing has now worn off, which is a bit of a shame. And the last thing I did was spray the plastic parts of the arches with the product to darken them up a bit and improve the overall look of the car. I just left these to dry naturally as well. And that's it. Thank you very much for joining me once again. Enjoy the finishing shots and let me know what you thought about the video in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more of this in the future. Thanks again.